91. I have an older brother who graduated in 1989, so kind of a family of Marine City people. You know, my dad went to high school there. My mom went, she went to Holy Cross. Graduated in 91 and then ultimately moved away for 4 or 5 years through college and my first job, and then in 2000 I came back and became the chief in Marine City.
Okay, so you went to what college?
I went to Albion College.
Okay.
Went there through 1995. Nope, let me back up. So graduated high school in 91, went right to Albion in 91 and graduated in 1995.
Okay.
Yep.
Did you play any football there?
I did. Okay. I was, so I went in my freshman year, got a ton of reps on special teams, ultimately worked my way into I wouldn't say a starting position as a D end, D lineman, but I was going in on third downs, passing downs and such. Had a lot of fun, and then my sophomore, junior, senior year continued to play college football. I threw the shot and disc for college track team, and then succumbed to a couple knee injuries, and kind of my career was
hanging up.
Shot, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So I've never asked you this, or even anybody else. So you go from a high school football program, which is deeply seated, good program, good coaches, good teams, and you go to college and play. And what's the difference?
It's just the tempo. You know, what was good about Albion? It was a smaller college, just a bigger high school format.
Sure.
But where the difference is, it's just the tempo and intensity of not only your practices, but the game speed. It's just night and day difference. But through all that, you know, you learn everything from your high school coaches and then into your college coach, but you'll never forget where you came from.
Right.
For your high school.
Right.
Ever.
And so while Saturday afternoon games aren't probably as, I don't want to call it heart-wrenching or just into your mind of playing for your high school. High school is sort of an emotional thing, right?
It is very emotional. You know, what's good about Marine City is it's so, Friday nights you can pretty much shut our town down.
Right.
Because everybody goes to our football games.
Yep.
when they're home. So come Saturday, you know, you get people from Albion City that come in, and then not only most of your student body population, you could probably get 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people at one of your home games. There's really not much difference when it comes to that, except it's always your hometown. It's the high school atmosphere that is beyond anything anybody could ever experience.
Right.
You know, I was fortunate to play at the next level in college, had a lot of fun, a lot of good times. Ultimately, you know, we won our league championship all 4 years. My senior year, we actually went and we won the national championship my senior year.
Okay.
So a lot of good memories.
So now, can you even imagine how much better it is at the 1AA, you know, University of Michigan, Michigan State? It's got to be unbelievable, right?
It's got to be unbelievable. 5, 6, 7,000 people at ours compared to 100,000 at a U of M game.
And then the competition level and the speed.
And the speed, it increases, I'm assuming, at every single level.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now you came back from college.
Yep.
And you've got a wife and children. Tell us about them.
So I got married in 2004. Lindsay's also from Marine City. I have two sons. Jaden is 20, will be 21 in January. He'll be a junior in Grand Valley. And then my youngest son, Jeffrey, will be a senior at the high school.
And what is Jaden majoring in?
Business marketing. He likes to do the online marketing stuff.
Okay.
So he's getting a marketing business degree.
I can remember on the sidelines of the Mariner football games, and Jaden, I would say, is the prototypical Mariner football guy.
Yeah.
Don't quote me in exactness; I could be off, but he's 5'9", 162 pounds, and will run through that wall.
He you know, that's one good thing about Jaden. You know, he wasn't gifted with size, but what he was gifted was with heart.
Yeah.
I mean, he wore his heart on his sleeve, would do anything you asked of him.
Yes.
And he just, you know, he transitioned through, as he was coming up through the freshman JV and varsity, he was always a defensive back. And then his senior year, they moved him, maybe it was end of junior year, but he moved into the defensive line position.
Right. I remember
and
that.
he was like a Tasmanian devil.
Right.
He would just get in there, create piles, create havoc, would irritate offensive linemen to no end.
Yes.
Just because he had the heart and the will to do it.
100%. It was not a 90. It was not a
Nope.
95. It was 100. I can remember seeing him coming in off of a play, and coach would be yelling somebody's name, and somebody may not have caught the certain name, and he was just, no, I'll go, coach.
Yep. Jaden, he volunteered for everything. And go back to it, even there were some times even during our practices where Jaden would get into pushing matches with some of his good friends because he was so intense even
Yeah.
at practice.
Yeah.
And some of the coaches are saying, Jaden, just tone it down a little bit. But Jaden, that was his intensity the entire time.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when along the way did you decide to get into coaching?
I started coaching in, I got to think, 08 or 09. I think it was right after the Mariners won the 07 championship. So it was in 08. I started coaching with Heath Kent and Gary Griffin back in the day. Ultimately worked freshman year, the freshman program for several years, and then moved up in the ranks to the JV squad with Coach Forgetto. And then it was when Jaden was a senior, Jeff would have been a freshman, got pulled up to varsity. I had asked Coach Godich at the time if I could move up and be able to have the honor to coach both my boys, and he allowed me to do that, and I have no regrets. It's some of the best times I've ever had.
Yes. You know, interesting, I've said this just about every interview I do because it tends to be coaches and teachers, but you can't remember what you had for lunch today or yesterday.
Right.
But you can remember each play of this X drive of an X game, and the one I'll bring to you. So your son's a quarterback, and you're playing at Marysville on their field, where they score. Marysville scores late with about a minute and 10 seconds left.
Yeah.
Which to some degree, some people go, oh, jeez, you know, you'd pack it in.
Yeah.
Your son is the field general for all intents and purposes, and leads them down with a last-second touchdown to beat your arch rival with basically about 10 seconds remaining in the game.
Yes.
How is that as a parent?
You know, it's tough for me to take my parent hat off to put my coaching hat on because, like I said, I'm up in the booth on the Friday nights on the binocs, looking on the field, being able to give,
some direction, what's going on.
To Coach Frent. And watching that happen, I've got my parent hat on, but my coaching hat on at the same time. The excitement level I had in the booth was unbelievable. Well, I can't even put a
Right.
bar on it,
Right.
But to tell you a story, what people don't know is up in the booth. So I was standing, Tim Lolito, for those of you who don't know Tim Lolito, he's as big as a house. And he literally, after Jeff completed that pass, Tim stands up, he looks at me and he goes, "That's how you throw a football." And he pushes me. And I literally thought that I was going to go through the wall behind us. I mean, because there was so much excitement there.
Right.
So whatever I was thinking about, Jeff just doing on that field went away because I'm like, am I about to die going through the wall of Marysville Field? So the excitement is unbelievable.
And then if you look back, you go back, say 1 minute, and you're living it like it's slow motion, right?
Yes.
It's like, okay, 59 seconds, clock is stopped. There's second down and 10 or whatever it might be.
Yep.
And in your mind, because with a minute left in high school sports, yes, it can be done. But it's not likely to be done like that.
Yep. We never gave up as coaches. The conversations that we were having was, hey, we're not out of this. We're not out of this. We can do it. The right play call at the right time. We're okay. We're okay. But then to see it come to fruition is just unbelievable.
And it's you look at that. That's where all the preparation comes in Monday through Thursday.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep. It's everything that we preach to our kids. You never give up, and the discipline and the integrity and holding yourselves accountable. Everything we preach to our kids, they were holding themselves accountable. They had the discipline to do what needed to be done to come out victorious in that game.
So I mean, that was a game that, I'll say that was for the ages.
I will never forget that game. So growing up, we'll talk about rivalry for a minute, but growing up, my rivalry was always with Marysville. And St. Clair was just a whatever game. But Marysville, we just didn't like Marysville going through high school, and the feelings were mutual. So when we go to Marysville, our kids, to this day, their big rivalry is St. Clair. But to me, and I keep telling the kids during our speeches that Marysville is my rivalry. Right. And then to go into their home field and do what we did and come out with winners was awesome.
Well, and it's like I don't want to sound like a broken record, but we've talked about this whole thing of if Walt Braun isn't as dedicated and have a system that he had his coaches for 20 years and rolled over the competition, we're probably not as good as what we are today.
Right.
And now we're on top, and we got to continue that role.
Yes, and that goes back to Bob Siskevich when he came in late '80s. He developed this program from him. Tony Scarselli brought Ron Glodich in, and then ultimately they passed the torch off to Darren Lutzen.
Right.
I mean, and they've kept everything consistent along the way. Nothing's been changed.
Right.
And they develop our program down. Give credit to Jason Bell and the junior football program. They run everything the same down there to a point. That we do up on the varsity level. And so to start all that and go back to Bob Siskevich, and he created that legacy that we currently have now, where we always have targets on our back going onto our field because we're Marine City football.
Right.
Everybody's known, or we're known for football. Marine City, you got a great football program. Right. Do you know about our golf program? How about our swim program? How about our baseball team?
Exactly.
Softball? No, it's Marine City football, which is sad in a way, but it's Marine City.
You want to be known for something.
Right, exactly.
So, your mentors.
Yes.
Give me some names.
Go back to, I'm going to say Bill Amia was a huge mentor of mine. I can remember I was training to be a running back my junior year. Ron Glodich was my running back coach. Tony Scarselli was a mentor. Bob Siskevich was a mentor. So those guys were my mentors in high school. Fast forward, I go to college. My defensive line coach was Dave Agnituk. I'll never forget him. He was a Marine. He would wake up. He would be running every single morning, try to get us to do what he did. We would go to spring break for track meets. Where would we find him? He'd be in some oyster bar eating, trying to break the 42 dozen oyster record, and we're like, come on, coach. So, yeah, those guys were mentors of mine. I've learned so much over the years on how to be a grown human, a grown adult, just by merely the sport aspect, which was brought to me by the people I just named.
And that is something that obviously I've mentioned from many times too, is that is what we're trying to do as a community, whether it's Marine City, St. Clair, Marysville, whether it's football, basketball, volleyball, track, cross country, any of them.
Right.
Because after the last productive gridiron sport that you're going to play, generally speaking, that's the end of it. Then you go on to adulthood.
Yes.
We want to make better adults so that we don't have to deal with them in your line of work, right?
Right. Yes. So sports in general, it teaches the right things that you need to have in life. It teaches you, hey, I need to be up. If my practice starts at 6 o'clock, then I need to be there before 6 o'clock. Right. Then that transitions into my job. Okay, my job starts at 6 o'clock. Well, do we really like somebody showing up right when they're supposed to punch in? No, we get there early. And our saying in the program is, if you're, early is on time is late.
Yep.
So, and late is unacceptable. So yeah, you've got the discipline, the integrity, the self-respect, the hold yourself accountable, never give up, which is huge in life. Because nowadays, there's not enough people in the world that hold themselves accountable. It's just so point the finger at everybody else. It's always somebody else's fault. And it's really kind of sad in a way, but sports will bring that out in, I mean, I don't care if you're a fifth string or if you're a starter.
Right.
It will teach you the aspects of life forever.
Yeah. So I would assume too that being in the law enforcement industry, that you probably have some mentors from law enforcement.
I do. So the biggest mentor I have is the chief before me was Don Tillery. He come in and developed some new programs, some new policies, some procedures, and taught me a lot about myself as not only as a cop, but as a supervisor, being promoted from a sergeant to a detective sergeant, ultimately to a lieutenant. And then he leaves, and then I slide into the spot after interview process, whatever. But what he has taught me about myself further in my life, it was nothing I will ever forget. And my current staff, I've got Jim Jones.
I was just going to mention that.
Everybody knows Jim Jones. I know he was retired captain out of Port Huron. If I have issues or I have questions, because I'm not perfect, I'll go to Jim Jones. Hey, what do you think about this? and he'll give me his answer. You know, I'm friends with Joe Platzer, Port Huron chief. I'm friends with Tim Raker here in St. Clair. You know, Tom Koenig in Marysville, Mike Coach in Clay, and we're all a close-knit group.
Sure.
Where if we got to bounce something off of somebody, it's a simple phone call away.
Now, are there regular meetings amongst, say, a group like that?
Yep. So starting back up in August, you know, we take the summer off, but every Wednesday, let me rephrase that. The first Wednesday of every month, we get together as a Chiefs Association, and we come together. We talk about planned projects, funding, grants, all this. And you know, the prosecutors are there, Coast Guard is there, Gaming Commission is there, Border Patrol is there. So we all come together and throw our ideas out there, and we figure things out.
Now, being a police chief of a small town like a Marine City, you tend to see and get to know some of the policemen just because they're on their normal routine of traffic or being downtown. But you also notice that there are sheriff cars and there's state police cars at your police headquarters.
Yes. So I allow the state police and the sheriff department, you know, if they come in and visit, and I know they're going to come visit regularly, I'll actually give them a key fob for access to our building, to use it for the computer, phone calls. They take their breaks there. We eat lunch together.
Sure. And
that's a time for us to, hey, this is what we got going on. What do you have going on? What do you have going on? And it's just where it's like an intelligence gathering type of thing, kind of unofficial, off the record type of stuff. But, you know, we talk, hey, we dealt with so-and-so. You familiar with so-and-so? Oh, hey, we are. And it's great PR for other agencies to be able to come into us and talk, especially, you know, recently we've only had one car working. If we need a backup, we know who our backup is.
Sure.
We know who's coming.
Now, as far as sheriff goes and state police, sheriff, for the most part, takes care of the townships surrounding, correct?
Yes. So with East China and China, they're a contracted township.
Okay.
So, which means they're obligated to have police patrol. Cotterville Township is not contracted, so if you get a sheriff car through there, they might be on their way to Elginak or answering a call or something, but there's no real active patrol there.
Okay.
And then the state police, they just go wherever. You know, they can make traffic stops wherever they want, just like the sheriff can. But there are differences there.
Do the state police have any specific, say, territory per se where they want cars or?
I'm not sure about that. All I know is that I think all of the cars that come and visit us at the department are from the Lapeer post.
Okay.
Because back in the day when Richmond was active, you know, you would see more state police cars around. And then when Richmond post shut down, they all transferred out. Lapeer post is now the main headquarters there. I think they're District 3. Post 34, I think is what they are, but they've got a substation in Port Huron, and I guess we can call ours a substation.
Sure.
But they don't utilize it as a substation. It's more of a, you know, let's get together and have lunch or talk, that kind of stuff.
Okay. Any defining moments in your professional career as police or in your coaching career?
Well, we'll do a combination of both. So, Staff and Command School a couple years ago, we had to explain our aha moment of when we knew what we were doing was what was worth it. And we had a situation in 2015 where the Sunrise gas station was robbed. Mm-hmm. Guy had walked in with what the clerk believed to be a handgun, was robbed, and ultimately after a search we figured out who it was, took him into custody. I'm in my office as the chief talking to the victim, who was the clerk of this gas station. And as I'm talking to him, he's answering everything, coach, yes coach, no coach, yes coach. And I'm like, wait a minute here. It was just so humbling for me to realize I made an impact on this kid, that he doesn't see me as a police officer, a cop, whatever you want to call us, or a chief. He sat there and called me coach. And it was very humbling for me, and I will never forget that moment.
Yeah, that's a very interesting moment.
Yeah. So there's a combination of the two.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Appreciate you coming by Channel 6 for a second time.
Second time.
Hopefully,
yeah.
second time's a charm and we don't have a breakdown of our hard drive here.
Well, hope so. I mean, we'll hope not.
We'll obviously see you on the sidelines, in the press box, and all around Marine City.
I will be everywhere I can be.
Okay,
Yes.
thank
Yeah.
you.
Thanks.
Have a good day.
Appreciate it. Take care.
See the number on the screen, 586-707-5811. If you know somebody that you'd like to have interviewed, give me a call. We'll try to schedule that. Until next time, have a good day.